Anyway, so I have an interesting episode for you guys tonight, or live stream if you will. So what I'm going to do tonight is, first off, just give me a quick little mic check. I have a brand new mic, brand new setup, brand new everything, and I just want to make sure everything is good. So I'm assuming it is because nobody's telling me they can't hear me yet. Thank you very much, Spencer. Yeah, so this is my new shirt. It says Whiskey on Ice here. You can find it in the store that should be below here, or possibly pinned. Yeah, I think it's pinned to the top of the chat. So if you're interested, check it out. My left ear loves your audio. Oh no, it's... Can anybody else say, like, am I only mono? Because I can fix that if that's the case. All right. So whatever is going on with pinch hitter, I'm going to assume it's just you. But tell me if anything else is wrong. Mic is very quiet. I'm finding that surprising. Just turn up your volume. I don't want to derail too much for mic stuff. I'll look into it later. I'll rewatch the video. But definitely I will look into it later. I do look like a podcaster, I know. So I have a new project that I'm going to be doing with some of the other whiskey channels. And I've only just let them know about this week. But I personally have been planning and getting ready for it for probably about 6 months at this point. So this microphone has something to do with it. And no, it is not a podcast. But I'll leave it at that. So here's what's going on tonight, because we have, like I mentioned, a pretty fun episode. And I'm going to be doing a giveaway just so that everybody here can see. So typical rules apply. $5 donation gets you an entry. But what I'm doing is I thought it'd be cool to give away a sample of each one of these Woodford Reserves. But what, we've all had Woodford, that's fine. But what you're really, doing the entry for is the Chocolate Whisper, which you basically can't get. So I have little bottles of each one of these, so you can kind of do a tasting along with me, or later on your own. And each one, I think it's a 2 or 3 ounce bottle, so it's a lot. And I actually poured you almost this entire thing. I haven't even tasted it yet. So anyway, that's what you guys are doing. So that is the giveaway. All right. Let's go ahead and talk just a little bit about Woodford Reserve. Now, I know that this is kind of an older distillery. Many of you have heard of it. In fact, this is kind of just interesting. I found this interesting while I was doing my research on my own videos. I was rewatching some of my old videos. And I'm sure many of you guys have noticed the scar on my nose, right? When I first started the channel, I did not have that scar. I actually, I had shingles because, I was like 32 or 33, something like that, and I got shingles, and I don't know exactly why. I attribute it to stress, and it ended up leaving a scar on my nose. But it was interesting because I didn't have that scar, I think, during my first Woodford Reserve review, but I had it during my rye review, which was the third one I did. So somewhere in there it happened. So Woodford Reserve, based out of Kentucky and owned by Brown-Forman, is an interesting whiskey because their distillery itself is not huge. Now, I personally haven't been to it, but, I really wanted to do the Bourbon Trail last year. Didn't end up doing it because COVID, but it's something on my short list. I really want to do that. I really want to go to Scotland. Kind of want to go to Ireland. My wife really wants to go to Ireland, so I think that's probably going to be one that we do. But regardless, Woodford Reserve is a fairly, not as big of a distillery as it should be considering the output that it does. And something I didn't realize is that they get a whole bunch of spirit from Brown-Forman. And that was enlightening because I just didn't know that. Somehow I missed that on my initial review of them. So let me get into just drinking a whiskey to start off with, because it's been a long time since I've done a live stream, and I just kind of want to have a drink. It's also been a heck of a week at work. So I'm going to start off here with the initial Woodford Reserve. So we're going to see this very special little graphic that I've put together. So as you see, the regular Woodford Reserve, straight bourbon, Brown-Forman Woodford Reserve. 1996 was when it was first introduced. Very interesting, surprising. It's been around for that long. Let me actually put that up one more time, just because I want to re-see some of that. That should have, there we go. Its mash bill is 72% corn, 18% rye, and 10% malted barley. And that's pretty high corn. Makes sense. You know, we're going quintessential bourbon here. They're going to go high on the corn. And it is also the same mash bill for both the bourbon, the double oaked, because that's more about being double oaked, and some of their yearly releases that they do. So I don't need to go into the whole nosing and tasting thing too much on the regular Woodford, but I will absolutely have this and tell you a little bit about my opinion about it, because what I'm kind of curious, less so about the Woodford, because as you see, I actually just got this bottle somewhat recently. It's already half gone. I like Woodford, just regular Woodford Reserve. I think it's like a really good whiskey to have on hand to do cocktails or just to sip neat, throw some ice in it if you want to, and recommend to brand new whiskey drinkers. So anybody out there who's looking for some bourbons to try, if you say you're newer to this whole thing, that is a good one to do. And certainly one that you should consider recommending to, say, like an older friend or something like that. Doesn't have to be older, but for example, earlier today, one of my friends, thank you. Happy 246th birthday to all my fellow U.S. Marines. Is that today, Eric? So absolutely happy birthday, and my first cheers will go to you. But anyway, earlier today, a friend of mine, or a guy that I work with, I should say, he asked me about a whiskey to recommend to a friend of his who's, you know, like blue collar guy. He drinks just whatever, but like nothing too expensive. And I said, you know, if you want to get him something special, get him a Woodford Reserve, because it's like usually $35 to $40, and people don't always spend that on themselves. So I think it's a totally affordable gift to give somebody that will actually potentially change their mind about what bourbon could be. Yes, thank you very much, Eric. So this one partially goes out to you, but as a collective goes out to the Marines. So cheers. Still very good. A bit more oaky than I remember it being, actually. Did I pour the right one? I sure did. So the Woodford Reserve has a lot of the quintessential bourbon notes that you're expecting. You know, I didn't spend too much time nosing this, but I know it very well. It's oak. It's vanilla. It's caramel. It's butterscotch. There's a little bit of the rye is showing up a bit in there, for sure. And I actually always liked the way that the rye in this plays with the oak. You know, oak and rye together, if you do it well and balance it well, are a beautiful combination that really just encompasses your whole palate. All right, so let's see what you guys are up to while I'm just kind of sipping this. So tell me, first off, I know it's a little bit early. Unfortunately, 7 o'clock really is the only time that I can find that I'm free and there's no other whiskey tubers going on. So I know it's a little early. Some of you might still be working, but for those of you that aren't or are joining me for a drink, what are you drinking? That's surprising, Spencer, just because I know that you like, you know, a lot of stuff. And this to me, Woodford doesn't wow me anymore like it used to, but it's still, to me, just something very solid. Like when I taste this, I actually taste bourbon, you know, and part of that has to do with me coming into it as early into my whole whiskey thing that I'm doing here early. So when I taste bourbons, I probably, you know, subconsciously compare it to Woodford. But a nice 1792 single barrel. Fantastic. Good choice. Let's see. I'm with you. I use the Woodford Reserve Double Oak and blends, and it makes Coke much more exciting. I could see that, actually. You know what's interesting? So I don't think that anything's really changed about Woodford Double Oak. I know the bottle has. I'm gonna get into the Double Oak in just a minute here, because I'm actually curious what I think about it. It's been so long. I remember liking it, but not being like astounded. You know, I think I didn't even think I was doing my ratings system back then. But if I had to, from watching my thing earlier, no, that's fine, Jonathan, that counts. Thank you. From watching my video earlier, I could tell that I probably would have given it like a try it, but nice. Laga 16. Fantastic. Oh, nice. Lieutenant or LT and DS is says Woodford was the bourbon that got me into good bourbon. Yeah, I think that you're probably not alone. I'm trying to think of what bourbons did I buy originally. I know I had Baker's before I had Woodford. And I distinctly remember not liking Baker's. It's part of the reason that you've never seen it on the channel, is just I feel like it will be hard to get past any sort of subconscious bias that I have. Nice 1792 full proof, lot 40 dark oak, 100% rye. Christopher, I'd be interested to know what you think about that. I've been looking into doing some lot 40s because despite my general joking about Canadian whiskey, there are some good ones out there, and lot 40 is one that people keep pointing me to. T Squared says that double oak is hard to get in Virginia. That's surprising. Like, really surprising. So, have any of you guys, here's a question for you. Have any of you bought any of the yearly releases that Woodford does? And while I'm waiting for your answers, I'm actually going to pour some of this double oak. I think I'm going to go into the double oak and then I'm going to do the chocolate malt whisper, because I've obviously never tasted it and I would like to do that when I still have a good palate. I think once I pop the rye, it's going to be a little tougher. So hopefully everybody's weeks are going well, or week is going well. It's only halfway there, but with any luck, you're staring down the barrel of a easy Thursday, Friday. Only Woodford I've had is the wheat whiskey. I'm sorry to hear that, IC86. It's not my favorite. You will, some of you may notice that there is a bottle lacking here, and that is the malt. Now, I noticed earlier this week that the malt was missing from my collection, and I believe that I must have finished it. I probably poured it around for friends, or did whatever I could to get rid of it, maybe poured it in some stuff. You know what? I probably practiced some cocktails with it. Whenever there's something I want to get rid of, I practice my cocktails. That's what I call it. Similar to me coming down here and writing and drinking whiskey, I refer to it as research. Me getting rid of crappy whiskey is me practicing my cocktails. All right, so the double oak, as you would expect, is quite a bit darker than the regular. I don't know if you can really, yeah, you could probably see that. I always like to put it up against my head, but in that vein, the actually regular Woodford looked a little darker, but it's quite a bit darker. And I'm trying to recall. It's just finished in a second oak barrel. I was trying to remember if there was anything special in particular about that second oak barrel, but let's see. I was actually surprised when I watched my video earlier today that I didn't love this, because I feel like I remember really liking it, but I don't know. Maybe I liked it by the end of the bottle. All right, let's go ahead and give this a nose. That's a lot different than I was expecting. Yeah, it's a lot different than I was expecting. This is way heavier on honey, and I was expecting it to smell like oak. There's kind of like a berry scent to it, like well, how would you know what it smells like, honestly, is like younger whiskey. Very different than what I was expecting. Let's take a quick look here at the mash bill. It's said, oh yeah, it's the same mash bill, of course. Yeah, 90.4, no age statement. It was first introduced in 2012. Yeah, so not a whole lot different. Just that it's put into a second oak barrel, so they're trying to over oak it. So it's like Pappy. Yeah, that's different. I feel like that's got to be different than what I remember it, but I don't believe that they've changed anything about it. Just the bottle. It's chocolatey. It is oaky for sure. The what was it? It was 12% rye, 18% rye, something like that. Sorry, I just want to know what was. I took my own notes so that I would remember. It is 18% rye. I nailed it. Okay, so what this tastes like is more rye than 18%, which is surprising. But what I think it is actually that malted barley kind of coming through. Just poured some Dusty Wild Turkey. Nice. So I did see Christopher commented, love it. I'm new to whiskey, so I don't have much to compare it to other than the blended 40% rye that Canada is known for. Okay. Well, that's fine. I'm gonna have to get my hands on some Lot 40 and see what I can do. So I appreciate all you guys who showed up tonight. I know it's been a long time since I've streamed. I've talked about this before. Streaming is hard for me to fit into my schedule. At least streaming for this. That might be a hint about that other thing I was talking about. But I find it hard to find time to stream. Mostly because at 7 o'clock I'm usually busy. So, but that's fine. I am actually really happy to be able to do this, and I think that's part of it. When I was doing it every week, it wasn't something I was looking forward to. It was something that I just did. And now I'm actually like happy to be here and happy to see a lot of the same familiar faces. So I really appreciate you guys coming back and checking out the channel. What'd you guys think of that Japanese whiskey video I did? I was actually really happy with how that one came out. I had the idea after I bought the bottle, and then I wrote the episode up in, I want to say like probably 15 minutes or so. It was one of the faster ones because I knew a lot of the information and I didn't have to do a whole lot of research. I later went back and double checked myself as I usually try to do. Boy, that's uncommittal. Hey, glad to hear, Eric. Well, not glad to hear you had appointments, but glad to hear that you were able to make it. I didn't even think about the time zone difference for you. I totally agree. It's an excellent value as well. I paid under 50 Canada. Okay. We still like you, Bill. I appreciate that. I like you too, Matt. So the double oak, interesting. The first sip really was kind of just eh. The second and third sips are growing on me a bit more. Love the Japanese video, Bill. Great info to know. Yeah, one thing that I was surprised about, and I realize this has nothing to do with Woodford, but who cares? One thing that I was really surprised about was just the nuance of the wording on the label. Like, it shouldn't have surprised me because I've seen this stuff 100 times over, but it was still a little bit surprising to just be like, boy, saying product of Japan is different than Japanese, and it is, but not if you're not thinking. Okay, well, that's interesting, IC86. Maybe I'll change my mind. He's saying he's enjoying the wheat whiskey right now. So that double oak grew on me quite a bit. The initial sip really was just surprising. Maybe it was just not what I was expecting, but as I got rid of my preconceptions, that helped. So a couple of quick things before I pour my next one and get into the malt. More orders of business, I guess. So for those of you that have just joined, so I'm wearing my new shirt, which I really like. I had this idea and it's exactly what I had in my mind. So it's pinned up at the top if anybody's curious. Again, I'm doing a giveaway tonight for a sample of each one of these, including the very hard to find Woodford Reserve Chocolate Malt Whisper, and I'll mail those out to your house and you can get them. Additionally, so I still have some 3-chord left. This is a monster, honestly. It's 58.28%. It's a 4.5-year-old MGP. It's 60% corn, 36% rye, 4% malted barley. And 3-chord in general, like, it's pretty good stuff, and I realize I'm pitching this to you guys, so of course I'm going to say this, but I also think that at this point you probably trust me a bit. I have not heard a single bad thing about it. In fact, I've heard quite the opposite. Like, people have bought it and now bought it again. I actually just mailed one out yesterday to somebody who is buying their second bottle, and he's like, I should have put it, 2 of them in there. So if you're at all interested, it's kind of not worth it to buy it through the distributor just because they charge too much for shipping, in my opinion. Unless, of course, you live in Massachusetts, in which case go to Julio's Liquors and then, you can pick it up there. You just ask for it. But if you're interested, send me an email at thewhiskeydic@gmail.com and we'll work out details. All right, let's get into this chocolate malt whisper because hell yeah, right? I am going to drink this. Oh, you know what? No, I reserved a very special glass. My Lafroig Maker's Mark dipped epic glass of beauty and epicness. All right, so let's pour a little bit of this and see what we can come up with. So I will tell you just a little bit about this. So what am I doing? I should just pour the rest. So Woodford in 2019 did a, oh, thanks T Squared. Happy birthday, Marines. Remember our veterans and welcome back to live streams, Bill. Thanks. Appreciate it. I actually have a couple more planned that I'm also equally excited about. I just need to find a time to do them. And I think it probably won't be too long. One of them, I think, well, I'll save it. But anyway, so in 2019, Woodford did a special release of, it was Malted Rye. What was it? Chocolate Malted Rye. And they claim that when they put out their next batch of bourbon, they said some of the notes carried over in the distillate. I don't have any reason to doubt them, but that seems weird to me. But regardless, they ended up with this. And they decided to put it out as a kind of a special release. So there's very few of them, and that's part of the reason I'm doing the giveaway, because I didn't want to just hog it all for myself. So, ooh, that smells different. Okay, that's cool. It smells a bit Balcones-y. Reminds me a little bit of the Balcones Rye, actually, because it's just heavy chocolate. That's really tasty smelling. All right, so like I mentioned, dark chocolate, or I said chocolate, but dark chocolate, like heavy chocolate. There's some weirdness going on though, in a good way. It smells a bit minty, in the way that sometimes you get with rye, but I was definitely not expecting that. It smells high malt. I think I put one of these together. Yes, I did. Whoops, that's not what I meant to show. Oh no, I didn't put it together. So this has the same mash bill as the regular bourbon. So it's going to be 18% rye, which is not very high. So interesting. So let me just read this. So the label on this guy here, you won't be able to read it on the screen, or probably not anyway, but what it says is Woodford Reserve Bourbon produced immediately after the 2019 Woodford Reserve Masters Collection Chocolate Malted Rye. Some of the flavor notes carried over in the distillate and influenced the flavor profile, giving it roasted chocolate notes. And I've got to say, they're not BSing. It does smell very chocolatey. Hey, James. Nice to see you. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I'm getting out of here. There's something kind of citrusy in there, but I don't know if I'm just making that up. I think you guys can relate. So, funny thing before I go into that. So I was using my own little dictionary to do a episode on Paul John Nirvana, and I'll be honest with you, it's been a little while since I've used this. I had forgotten how useful the little radar graph at the bottom is. So I'm gonna attempt to kind of pin this one a little bit based off some of the descriptors I've got here. So now, not all of it's gonna be off the nose here. So I'm gonna have a little taste, and let's see, who do I want to give a cheers to? Let's say anybody who is here for the first time. This one's to you. Let me know in the chat if this is your first live stream. Ooh, that's weird. This is a good weird. I'm just figuring that one out. Wow, that's weird. I don't know what the heck that was. It's a good weird though. It's a unique weird. And at this point for me, this is unique is what I'm aiming for, because everything tastes friggin' so close together, especially bourbons. Something like this is just bizarre. All right, so let's think about this. So balance, I wouldn't necessarily give it a whole lot of points in balance. So everything is like a 1 to 5. I'd give it like a 2. Body, another 2. Dark fruit, I would say that's got some hints of dark fruit, but I'm trying to think of what. And what I'm thinking of is raisins. So I'm going to go with raisins. Now, citrus. Citrus is one of the weird things that was happening there. It's almost like a citrusy oil. Almost going back to the body. the viscosity, not viscosity. It's not viscosity. It's truly oiliness, and it's making it coat the inside of my mouth. There is kind of a difference that I'm trying to elaborate on here, where when I have something that tastes a little oily, hold on one sec. So Eric says, correct me if I'm wrong, a chocolate malt is malted barley roasted so much it gives a lot of chocolate flavor, but not much alcohol, commonly used in porter and stout beers. You're correct, Eric. Basically, it's not anything to do with chocolate other than where the smell, I'm sorry, where the name comes from is how it smells when you're roasting it. So yes, completely, Eric. Thank you. Where I first learned about chocolate malt was the Signet, the not Suntory. Wow. The Glenmorangie Signet, and learning about that. Cause I didn't know anything. I was like, what is chocolate malt? Is it malt that tastes like chocolate? But no, it's about the smell. And I thought that was interesting. It does actually taste like chocolate too, but you're going to get it more off the smell. All right, so back to the citrus. So there's like a weird citrusy oil thing here that only makes me think of like a citrusy extract that you might use, like kind of like an orange citrus extract. I don't want to say like those chocolate oranges that people sometimes have. It's more, I don't know, it's more pungent than that. So let's keep going. Floral, not really. Would that lead to a coffee type taste too? That's a good question. I mean, coffee malt is a different thing, or coffee still is a different thing. But I don't know if I would. I do think that chocolate can sometimes taste like coffee, and vice versa. So maybe, but I wouldn't say necessarily in this one. So floral, nothing floral here. Herbal. Actually, no, maybe, well, herbal. Yes, I'll go herbal. There's some of that same mintiness, that I was tasting before. Nutty, not really. Malty, definitely. Toffee. Oh, well, I'll just have to have another sip. Hey, there's a few people who are here for the first time, so awesome. I'm glad to see you. Boy, I think I need a drink of water or something. Sorry. Drinking whiskey is apparently wrecking my vocal cords tonight. All right. Sorry. That's much better. All right. So toffee, I would say a little bit. I'd give it like a 1 to 2. Then peaty, not at all. Sulfury, not at all. Woody. Jaffa, you love chocolate and hate coffee. I don't know what to say to you. Like, I love chocolate, but I also love coffee. So I mean, I guess we're allowed to have different opinions. I guess I'll let that one slide. All right, woody, a little bit, maybe like a 1 to 1.5. Cereal grains, not really. No, it's kind of covered up. The chocolate is really covering a lot of stuff up. Fainty, no. Smoky, no. Spicy, a little bit. Sweet, yeah, kind of. Winey, surprisingly, yes. I would actually attribute this a little bit to a red wine. Just a little bit, but more like a red wine that was maybe out on the counter for like a week and a half, where it's starting to get just a tad bit vinegary. So not really what I would have thought of, but I was glad to have that descriptor because it made me realize. James Morgan, yes, I have had the Glenmorangie Signet. Actually, it's one that I've recommended multiple times, although the price recently has gotten stupid. So at this point, I don't recommend it. I bought it for $180. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I did not actually buy that bottle. I got the bottle. But when I got the bottle, it was about $180, and I was okay recommending it for that. But now it's like $250, and I just can't. I can't. That's silly. All right. I heard coffee. I'm summoned. Hey, Emily Chambers. Nice to see you. We miss you in the Discord. Any of the wrenches, if you want to link the Discord. So if anybody here is interested in chatting with like-minded whiskey lovers, the Discord for our group, I call it the Whiscord, is actually kind of home to a lot of whiskey tubers. I've made a channel for each individual whiskey tuber, and their videos automatically get posted there. We have a place called The Bar. We have a place to show off your collection, whatever you just picked up, whatever else you're drinking. It's a bunch of good people, and it's actually really fun to talk over the course of the day. Makes the days progress. All right, so this chocolate malt, I'm really impressed with this. This is such a unique taste that I'm very happy to have tried it. So, I got sent this by Woodford. So as far as I'm concerned, thank you. But very good. I'm happy. When they sent this to me, I actually went out and bought a couple more bottles that I was missing because I was like, I really wanted to do this. So let me take this off the screen because that's kind of taking up a lot of the screen. Boom. All right. How am I doing on time? All right, I'm doing pretty good on time. I'm about halfway through. And I'm about halfway through. So, perfect. Let me put the chocolate malt away. The double oak, we'll move that to the side. So I still have the wheat and the rye. Now, I'm going to go wheat first because I remember really liking the rye. And I've done the wheat recently and wasn't crazy about it. Well, sorry to hear that, Emily. I figured that you left just because, you didn't like us. All right, let's go ahead and pour the wheated. Oop, that was a heavy pour. Oh, no. That sounds cool. Yeah. A lot of times it's a pop, but that one was a fun one. All right, let's go ahead and do the wheat. So, Woodford wheat was introduced in 2019. It's got 52% wheat, 20% barley, 20% corn, 8% rye. Still at the same ABV, which is interesting. I did find that surprising that all of the Woodford stuff is like 90.4. And I believe that is the case. Yeah, it's the case for the rye as well. But what I also found interesting about Woodford is that virtually everything just makes the cut. Like, what did I say that was? 53%? I really should have had my notes a little better. 52%. Yeah. So it's like they wanted to do all the different varieties. So they kind of did the minimum that they had to do, which just strikes me as weird. Because Woodford can do whatever they want. So either one, they just wanted to cover all the bases and do all of the 4 original kinds of whiskeys, or they're doing the basic because they want to be like an introduction to that style of whiskey, which I could see that a little bit more. But either way, I appreciate the fact that they did, but it makes me sad that they didn't kind of go all in. I don't expect 100% wheat, but I do like, let's put it this way, like Bullet Rye is like 95% rye. And I remember liking that around the time that I was drinking this. And I remember kind of thinking that the rye here, although I liked it, was not as good as the Bullet Rye. And I think that was because I like strong flavors. Like, I want it to go all in with everything. It's just the way I am. You don't get a body like this by not enjoying flavor. So either way. All right, so let's go ahead and give a toast to, what do we give a toast to? Well, it's almost Thanksgiving. Hey, actually, how about this? Let's give a toast to anybody here who joins the Whiskcord. And I will see you guys after the live stream. I'll go check. So go join the Whiskcord. The link is just a little bit higher. All right. The nose is weird. It's very thin. There's almost nothing there. Oh, no, there it is. All right. I think it just needed a second. Caramel apples is a thing. And IC86, I believe that you were the one that said that you were drinking wheat. So let's kind of do this together, all right? So we got caramel apples, as I said. Cinnamon, which makes sense, kind of goes along with it. Doesn't smell like 90 proof. Doesn't really have any of the alcohol burn there. Yeah, it's the 95% MGP mash bill. Yep. The smell here is actually pretty nice. I have no complaints about the smell. It was originally, like at first, not a whole lot, but it does smell pretty good. All right, cheers. I remember what I didn't love about this. And it's funny because I saw it coming because it's actually the aftertaste, and I was identifying it before I even hit it because I just remember drinking this. The aftertaste isn't really my favorite. Smedley Butler? I don't know. I don't get the reference. Guy Fawkes Day. Okay. Yeah, remember the 5th of November. You're right, so that was a few days ago. You know, this is interesting. So I was just reading over some of the notes because I copied the notes from my video earlier because I remember having a tough time with the wheat specifically. And some of the things I wrote down were that if I didn't know this was a wheat whiskey, I'm not sure that I would peg it as such because it tastes like a thinner, regular Distiller Select, and like with less oak to it. And maybe that's what it's supposed to taste like. But again, I wish that they just went higher. I wish they did more percent wheat. But that's just my opinion, man. That's just like my opinion, man. All right, so this is batch 45, bottle 256. So I did buy this a little while ago. I doubt anything's really changed about it. But either way. Well, happy birthday, IC86. You know what the problem is? I had chicken pot pie like right before this, and I put way too much pepper on it, and I think that's what's bothering my throat. But either way, I'll deal with it. It's good that I have this nice, beautiful new mic to hear my hoarse, raspy voice. But thanks to the patrons, by the way, for the microphone. Appreciate it. So I'm not going to spend too much time on the wheat because I truly just don't enjoy it. And I do think it's as much me as anything, but it's not my thing. But what I do remember really liking, and I'm going to have this in my old Pulteney glass, is the Woodford Reserve Rye. All right. I actually just cracked this bottle earlier tonight. Same with the double oak. So what was missing from those bottles was what's in the little giveaway bottles here. So, yeah. Interesting. It does not smell like rye very much. Let's see what this is. Let me move a couple of these out of the way so I don't knock them over. Alrighty, we got the rye. So, Brown Foreman again, Woodford Reserve. So, introduced in 2012. 53% rye, 33% corn, 14% malted barley. I'll have to remember to make those graphics a little longer next time. But I do like them. I spent a little bit of time on those earlier today. So I think you'll see those probably again. So I'm going to have to go back through the chat later tonight. But give me some suggestions of ryes that you guys think are particularly spicy. I'll just leave it at that. Because I'm planning another live stream with things. And I might be willing to pick up a couple more ryes. So let me know what you think are spicy ryes, and then let me know what your favorite ryes are. Because it's definitely going to be a rye night. We'll just, I'll keep it to that. Interesting nose here. Very light, not a whole lot going on. Leaning a little bit more towards fruit than anything. Pear, which is strange. Wasn't expecting that. I don't know that I'd say apple. Don't care for Maker's Mark for some reason. Yep, I'm weird. No, you're not weird. A lot of people don't like Maker's Mark, T squared. Actually, a lot of people say that Maker's Mark has kind of like a weird flavor. I think that they must be tasting something I'm not. But I will also say that I don't typically taste like dill pickle in ryes, and some people do. I don't really eat pickles very often, so I think that could be it. Maybe it's just an experience thing. But I just don't really love pickles. So not loving Maker's Mark does not make you a bad person. Not loving Maker's Mark 46 probably does. All right. Let's go ahead and give a cheers to... Didn't expect to do 5 of these tonight. I should have. You know what? I'll be corny here. Thank you, Woodford Reserve, for sending along the chocolate malt. That's something I wouldn't have had a chance to try otherwise. So, it motivated me to do a live stream, and that's a heck of a thing. So I appreciate it. Cheers. I still like it. David, yes, I have. And probably something I should consider doing. So Willet Rye bottle is straight up dill pickle. Okay. I'm not a rye aficionado. Ed O'Mara at Rockgut Review is probably the best person I know to ask about rye. You know, that's a good point. I should ask him for a couple of suggestions. I have no idea how many ryes I have. I probably have like, I don't know. I'd want to say probably at least 5 or 10. I have a lot of freaking bottles of whiskey at this point in my life. Yeah, it's a lot. It's funny because this is where I sit when I do my normal day work. I have my monitors actually pretty much right where the camera is. And it's funny whenever I go on video, especially with people who don't know me, because they see the sticker behind me. They see just the plethora of whiskeys, and they're just like, huh, how far away do you live? You know, that looks like a fun place to go. Meanwhile, I'm just like, our system is down, focus, let's, whatever. So I like rye better than bourbon, but bourbon's good too. IC86, I can actually respect that, but my thinking is, it's interesting. Bourbon's not like one tone, but it's definitely not as, there aren't as many variations in bourbon as there are in things like Scotch, or, Irish whiskey is not a competitor either. If I had to think of like what I think is the most complex whiskeys, I mean, Scotch would be first for sure. Bourbon might be up there, but American whiskeys, just American single malts, probably would take the second place from what I've tasted. There aren't as many of them, so that's part of the problem, but there's a lot of variety. And then probably comes bourbon. Maybe rye is, there's like a couple of types of rye, or there's probably several, but they don't have a whole lot of variety. But if you find something you like, then you like it. So I don't know. I'm with you, Matt. Just being among all of these things. Now, it does get a lot of comments about, like, I've been on this one particular production issue for a couple of weeks at this point, and having people talk to me about, like, oh my gosh, if I was in your shoes, I'd be like drinking. I mean, they're not wrong. I don't, but it's hard sometimes. It's hard to know that I could just be like, yoink, and make the whole day a little better. Thanks, Emily. Yeah, I felt inspired earlier and thought I'd give that. Hey, bud, found your channel a few weeks ago, and it sparked a huge interest for me to try new whiskeys. That's awesome. I love Four Roses Small Batch, fantastic. And tonight I'm going to try their Small Batch Select, fantastic. Ian, that's all great news. If you get the chance, especially if you like those both, more so because you like the small batch, definitely get a single barrel. Or, yeah, single barrel. There's several of them, and they all taste good. So if you ever want specific suggestions, Ian, just hit me up. I'll help you out. So joining in late tonight. Hey, Taylor, nice to see you. Donald, T Squared. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, a few other names here. All right, so for some reason, I just got like an influx of like 10 people. So getting near the point where I'm going to start picking a winner. So if anybody here would like to get in on the giveaway, you're going to get a sample of the 4 Woodfords that you see here. So the regular wheat, the rye, the regular, the double oaked, but you're also going to get the really hard to get Chocolate Malt Whisper. And you're going to get about 3 ounces of it. So plenty for you to experience, and guaranteed you're not going to find it anywhere else. It's very hard to get. I got sent a sample of it from Woodford and figured I'd share the wealth. Let's see. Have you heard about the Lot 40 finished in ex-peated quarter cask? Ooh, that sounds good. I've been tracking entries. Oh, thanks, Pinch Hitter. I actually believe, I appreciate that you did that, because I wasn't totally convinced that I'm going to be able to get these properly from YouTube, but I think they track people who, oh, that's interesting. It's actually telling me I don't have any super chats, which is totally false. All right, well, so it's good that you did that, so thank you. I'll reach out to you when, or I'll ask you for that list when time comes. let's go back to the rye for a second. I kind of derailed myself. So this rye holds up. It is not the most complex rye I've ever had, by any means. It's not even really the best rye, but it is a great rye to start because it's not going to burn your tongue off. You know, you can get some high ryes, and they're going to be too much for a lot of people. And I'm thinking, and I've thought about this before, but thank you, Taylor. I've thought about this before, and I'm thinking about it again. And Woodford doing that low version of each one of their different whiskeys, it's just a way to have people experience different types of whiskeys, and it makes some sense. Where it's a problem, at least for me, is because I enjoy whiskey as much as I do, I think that it's not enough in a lot of cases. And this rye is kind of proving that, because what this tastes like, just like everything else, is Woodford Reserve Distiller Select with an influence of whatever it's going to be. Influence of malt, influence of wheat, influence of rye, thrown into a second barrel. And all of those things are fine because Woodford is a really good base. But none of them are great. Now, what are great are their yearly releases. The couple that I've had have been stellar. And I suspect that they all are. You know, I haven't had all of them, but there's the occasional miss. I think like the cherry wood one was not a great one. Maybe the oat one wasn't great. I'm trying to remember. But this, Chocolate Malt Whisper is pretty darn good. But more specifically, I remember people saying good thing about the 2019, the actual chocolate malt, which this is derived from. So it makes sense. All right. So it's 7:50 right now. I'm going to give 5 more minutes for any other entries to come in. And then if they do, I'll do I have a little spinning wheel that we'll do. So let's see what you guys are up to. I know many of you have been drinking along with me tonight. Many of you have switched drinks. Is anybody drinking anything unique tonight or anything that they popped specifically for this occasion? And let's see what you guys are up to. So let's see. Emily Chambers. I have a few local friends who like it. Yeah, never mind. So a couple more quick things just about Woodford in general. Elizabeth McCall. Now, she, to my knowledge, was not really helping as a distiller back when I first did my review of Woodford Reserve. And it kind of makes me think that I would want to go do some more research. Would you guys be interested, this is slightly tangent, would you guys be interested in me doing almost like a retrospective kind of review where I try things that maybe I tried like 6 years ago? Because, fortunately I've been doing this channel for so long, I really can look back and see, things that I didn't like. Like I suppose I could drink some Johnny Walker Red and see if I like it now. Spoiler, new. But something like the Woodford Double Oak, I didn't love it back then, and it went down real easy tonight. So I think it would probably get a better rating. Let's see, Taylor. I need to order that new Whiskey on Ice shirt. I'll probably order that within the next week. Awesome, Taylor. You should. I actually really like it. My suggestion is order it up a size if you're getting just the regular t-shirt. But check their size chart. It's pretty good. I tend to go up a size. Like this is a double XL, and it's like one of 3 shirts I have that are double XL because most of the time I just wear an XL. Ooh, T Squared is drinking his Scotch Infinity bottle. Anything interesting in there? What's wrong with Johnny Walker Red? Well, I'll be respectful. It is not for somebody who really appreciates whiskey. It's for somebody who wants to drink whiskey in something or just get drunk. Johnny Walker Red is an intro to whiskey. The reason that I don't like it too much is that I feel like it turns more people off of whiskey than it turns people onto whiskey. Ralphie does reviews. Whiskeys and our tastes do change. Yeah, for sure. That was exactly what I was going to recommend. Yeah. I'm drinking some Jephthah Creed. Bloody Butcher Barrel Proof. Jephthah Creed, that's the one that like Jason from the Mash and Drum really doesn't love, right? If I remember correctly. Oh, you know what? I think the super chats just kind of fade from this screen. YouTube needs to be better about that. All right, let's go ahead and unpin this message. That was just my t-shirt. All right, so I need the full list of people that contributed. Otherwise, I can just scroll up and find them all. But it'll take me a minute. So I know that you were keeping a list for me. That would be super helpful. So I guess let me even just kind of go down this route for a second, just to do a quick recap while I'm getting that list. So again, I'm just still not crazy about the wheat. I think it has a little bit more merit than maybe I gave it in my episode, but that was only really a couple of months ago, if even that. And I still don't love it. I wouldn't recommend people really get this one. Try it if you can. How about let's do it in chat if you can. If you can't, then throw it in Discord and I'll open that up and get it. The Woodford Reserve Rye, I'm still very much a fan of. The regular Woodford, I'm still very much a fan of. The double oaked, I think I would probably enjoy a full bottle of it, but I don't know that I would buy it all that often. And the Chocolate Malt Whisper is just weird, but in a good way. One channel that I do want to point out in the Discord that I think is a lot of fun is the Pickups channel. A lot of people, let me give you some advice if you decide to join the Discord tonight. If you ask that group of people if you should buy a bottle of whiskey, the answer is going to be yes. We are not the most discerning group of people. The answer could very well be no, don't buy that. But if you're asking about any bottle that's like okay or better, and you're like, you know what, guys, I'm on the fence. Should I buy this? The answer is yes. The answer is always yes. If you're on the fence, then you should just buy it. All right. So okay, so let's do this. I'm going to switch over to not full webcam, browser webcam, and I'm going to open up this guy. All right, cool. So we'll do this. Eric Waite, Jonathan C, T Squared, Taylor Atchley, John Rumbick. All right. Last chance for anybody who wants to get in on this. There's not a ton of people, so you have a very good chance. I'll give you guys about a minute. Anybody who wants to throw a super chat in there. Otherwise, I'm going to do it. And let's see. You have until I finish this. I also don't want to make it boring. I don't want to sound like I'm begging for money. I just want to give people a chance. All right. Well, no other entries came in, so let's go ahead and add this. You guys all have a very good chance. Let's see what happens. I want to make sure that you guys can all see this. Yes, you can. I know. Oh, those of you that are in here are like, don't ask more people. Yeah, fancy schmancy, man. I'm all about this stuff now. It's been a long time since I've live streamed, and I've gotten a lot better at everything I do. Except for drinking whiskey. All right, Jonathan C., you are the one to win the little tasting kit that I'm going to put out there. I already know how to get a hold of you, so I'm going to. But congratulations. Fantastic. Let me get back to... Oops, that's not what I wanted. All right. So, congratulations, Jonathan. Fantastic. Let me make a note of that. Jonathan C1. Cool. All right, so we are at 7:57. Why don't all of you guys go, rinse your glass, get another drink, and go over to the Mash and Drums channel. I don't know what he's doing a live stream on tonight, but I'm sure it's going to be a good one because Jason is one of the best live streamers out there as far as I'm concerned. And I really enjoy watching his stuff when I bother to do so. Has nothing to do with him. Totally just that I'm usually writing my own episodes when because I'm panicking because I don't have an episode for Friday. Nah, you don't have enough bottles, Eric. If I had extra, I would totally send you an extra one. All right, everybody, thank you very much for joining me here on the Whiskey Dictionary. I hope you had a good time. I apologize that I don't do these more. I do them as frequently as I want to and as frequently as I can. So I hope you have a great day and a great weekend. And I'll see you on Friday. I'm going to be doing an episode on the Paul John Nirvana, an intro to Indian whiskeys that I think will make a pretty good episode. So have a good rest of your